IBIS, that sounds like a disease. IBIS, it doesn't have IBIS. Is that good? Yeah, it's good. My a6500 has IBIS. Take to the doctors. Get that IBIS off. Oh, what the heck am I talking about? Yes, that's right. I think the Sony a6400 is one of the most exciting cameras Sony has released. I know people are not having it. People are thinking, no, we don't have this. The flip out screen is like half done. Why couldn't it flip on the side? What about the IBIS? Why did you do that for? The same batteries. What's the point? But I think they're wrong. And here's why. So welcome to Tech Notice. Let's talk about the camera that Sony just released a few days ago, the Sony a6400. A bit of a random naming for the camera because it goes between the 6300 and 6500, but it's actually later released than the 6500, so why is it before the 6500? Anyway, everyone was hoping that this camera that Sony was going to release is the Sony a7000 or the a7S III, but Sony released this one. And do you know what? At first I thought, oh, but then I started looking at what it's for, and then I got really excited, especially looking deep into some of the specs, and that makes me super excited for the a7S III because what they have upgraded there. So let's talk about them. First of all, now let me get this big elephant in the room out of the way. Now there's the flip out scheme, blah blah blah, but the absolute #1 best feature that the Sony a6400 has is the no recording limit. Now, all of the Sony cameras, mirrorless cameras so far have had the recording limit up to 29 minutes and 50 seconds. But now there is no limit. There is no limit to video recording. So what that means is hook up an external battery and you can record a long time video. So imagine you're a wedding shooter, for example, wedding videographer, cinematographer, and you always had to go and check and restart your camera recording. But now you just use the a6400, put it in the back, it costs you only $900, you put it in the back, it tracks the subject perfectly, AF is unbelievable, and it's just gonna be your main kind of safe camera that just records all throughout the ceremony. Now this is awesome because we can expect the same in the future cameras. Now you've got to understand that this camera is only $900, which means that this is not a very high end, it's just mid somewhere over there. So if we're moaning about the pro features, we shouldn't moan about the pro price, but because it doesn't have that pro price, pro camera price, we can't moan about not having the pro features. You have to lose some of the features somewhere. So I think they've done a very good job. Now that camera still uses the same Sony NP-FW50 batteries, which we all know we just need like a lot of them. Whoa. For some reason, this new a6400 pulls more or less juice out of the battery, which means the battery lasts longer. So you could see Max Yuryev's comparison. I'm gonna leave some videos in the description. Some of the B-roll, as you can see, is from their channel, so make sure to check their reviews out, their full reviews, very helpful. But you could see that the a6400 records miles longer, not just the overheating issue, which we're going to talk about in a moment, but the actual battery lasts longer on the a6400 than on a6500, which means that they've done some software magic engineering inside, which means that we're not completely retired from these smaller batteries yet. Yes, and one of the biggest drawbacks with these batteries was that the screen was dimming when you shot in 4K, but now not anymore. Your screen is not dimming. These features, all of these that I'm talking about here, make me very excited about the upcoming cameras. So that's why I think this camera that Sony has released is very exciting, and it's for a very specific audience. It's for the vloggers, people who are full-time YouTubers, but they want an entry-level camera that can do a lot of things. But listen to this, it has the same mount as the high-end cameras, right? So if you look at Canon, then the smaller or budget versions of mirrorless cameras, for example the Canon, let's say the M50, it has a different mount than the EF mount. It's an EFS mount, which means that these lenses can't adapt to the bigger ones, or your full frame lenses, you have to have an adapter, and you know, it's just all a faff. Whereas on Sony, it's the E-mount. It's the same mount for the full frame cameras and for the APS-C size cameras, which means you can switch lenses. It's just, I don't know, it's just genius. And one of the biggest upgrades that Sony has done is the AF. The autofocusing system has got like a amazing tuning. So basically now, the camera tracks your eyes, but not just your one eye and randomly chooses whichever eye. But now you can choose which eye do you want it to track or which one you want it to focus on, which is amazing for photo people. I'm not so, you know, fussed about the photo features. It's got some amazing photo features, but just let's focus on the video. So now it can actually track your eye when shooting video. But when it can't figure out where your eye is, boom, it actually jumps to your face tracking. And then when you don't have your face there anymore, or maybe you turn to the side and it can't recognize your face, boom, it's object tracking. This autofocusing system is just amazing now because, most importantly, we have the object tracking. So you just tap on the object on the screen and it just follows the object. Absolutely amazing. Finally, so a lot of people so far and still have been a little bit iffy about where the record button is on the Sony cameras, especially on the a6000 series cameras. It's on the side and you're getting cramps? You're getting cramps on your thumbs when pressing record. Now you can actually assign the shutter release button or the shutter button to start recording. Finally. Yes. Now I am shooting on the a6500 and the biggest, or one of the biggest thing that kinda I always have to check with this is whether it's been overheated and stopped recording. The new a6400 doesn't have that issue anymore. It's done. History gone. Bye-bye. And the newer cameras that Sony's released, especially the A7 third generation cameras, they don't have the time-lapse feature built in anymore. That's history as well, because the software upgrade after this A6400 goes to these cameras as well, and we have a built-in time-lapse feature. It does have a slight little bad side, which is that it doesn't build a video file for yourself, which means you're just gonna get a heck of a lot of photos that you have to stitch together for a film later post-editing. But it's one step forward, which makes me very excited. Hopefully Sony's gonna just tweak it a little bit and make a video file as well. And this is not all what you get for your $900. You also get the S-Log profiles and the hybrid log gamma profiles. If you look at the package, what you get for it, it's unbelievable. For a YouTube creator or someone who creates content, I know it doesn't have IBIS. IBIS, that sounds like a disease. IBIS, it doesn't have IBIS. Is that good? Yeah, it's good. My a6500 has IBIS. Oh, poor a6500. Take to the doctors. Get that IBIS off. Oh, what the heck am I talking about? Nevertheless, however, this is not a big thing. I know you think it's a big thing, but actually it isn't. Because you can still get lenses that have IBIS in, and I think for the most people who use this camera, they are buying a vlogging lens, which for the APS-C size body, you only have kind of one Sony lens, which is the 10-18, which has already the optical stabilization, which is good. And you know, there is the Sigma 16mm 1.4, but it's a bit tight for vlogging. That's my opinion. Do you know what? You get shake anyway when you're, you know, walking around, so I think it's not a big thing. For me, it isn't. To me, the biggest drawback is actually the screen. I mean, thanks a lot for making the screen, right? It's appreciated, but one of the first things that the person who buys the camera, the first accessory they're gonna buy is a microphone. But now what they're gonna do, tape it to the lens, because they can't put it on the hot shoe mount because the screen becomes absolutely useless. Just like, you know, give up, be humble, and make it come out from the side. You don't need to prove that this coming up or coming down is the best way of doing it. It isn't. Just make it come out of the side. And that's it. I know I've been like mumbling around here a little bit, but all these features that this camera has makes me super excited about the upcoming cameras, because they've done some major tweaks in the software which makes some of the older hardware work better with the new software, and that's just amazing, which still makes me think that it's a little bit industry leading mirrorless camera company. So guys, I hope you're excited for the Sony a7S III, because after the a6400, there's only two cameras to come. High-end APS-C size camera and high-end full-frame a7S III. If you actually think about the price point and who that camera is for, do you think the a6400 is an awesome camera and makes you excited? Comment below. I want to know what you think, because I'll meet you down there. Thanks guys for watching. Leave a like if you found this video helpful, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe, because more videos like this are coming out every single week. So stay tuned for that, okay? Meet you down there. Okay, I'm gonna go down there now. And you're welcome.